Hello everyone, my name is Amanpreet Singh. You are watching my channel Chess Knowledge. Now, in this episode, we will see the game between Karpov and Hartinov. This game was played in 1988. Next, why you will hear from the computer.
Queen's Gambit declined 42 moves. Karpov demonstrates his excellent technique. On move 4, Karpov embarks on a plan to weaken Black's queenside. After 35 moves, the plan bears fruit and a queenside pawn is won. Karpov was world champion from 1975-1985. c4. This is called the English opening. It usually leads to a positional struggle. e6. One of many possible replies. Black prepares for d5. Knight c3. d5. d4. The game has now transposed into a Queen's Gambit declined. This position could have been arrived at by 1 d4 d5 2 c4 e6 3 knight c3. Knight f6. C takes d5, the exchange variation. White's goal is now to move up his two queenside pawns and exchange them, leaving Black with a weak pawn. E takes d5. Bishop g5, pinning the knight and threatening 6. Bishop takes f6 and Black would have to recapture with the pawn because 6. Queen takes f6 loses to 7. Knight takes d5. Bishop e7, breaking the pin. e3. Knight bd7. It is important not to play knight c6, blocking the c-pawn. Knight f3. White is continuing normal development. c6. Bishop d3. Short castle. Queen c2. White will soon begin attacking on the queen side. Rook e8. Black will move the knight on d7 to f8 so that the bishop on c8 can be developed. Short castle. Knight f8. h3. Bishop e6. Rook fc1. Moving the rook to the half-open file. White plans to place his other rook on b1 to support the pawn advance. Knight 6 d7. Black hopes to simplify by exchanging bishops. Bishop f4. White prefers not to exchange. Knight b6. So that Black can play 14. Bishop d6 and the queen will protect the bishop. Rook a b1. Preparing for an eventual b4. Bishop d6. Knight e2. Knight g6. Bishop takes d6. Queen takes d6. a4. White does not play b4 at once because Black can answer with knight c5 with an equal game. Rook a c8. Queen c5. White would have a positional advantage after 18. Queen takes c5 19 d takes c5 knight d7, not 19. Knight takes a4 20 b3 trapping the knight 20 b4. Queen b8. Queen a3. Now the pawn must be protected. a6. Rook c3. White is going to double rooks on the c file. Queen c7. Rook bc1. Rook a8. Knight d2. The knight will eventually make its way to c5. a5. So that if 23 b4 takes b4 24 queen takes b4 rook takes a4. Rook b1. Knight c8. White's pieces are much more coordinated than Black's. b4. If White can trade this pawn for Black's pawn on a4 and then trade his pawn for Black's pawn on b7, Black will be left with a weak pawn on c6. This is the plan initiated on move 4 of the game. A takes b4. Queen takes b4. Knight d6. Knight b3. Supports the advance of the pawn and prepares for an eventual knight c5. Bishop c8. a5. According to plan. Knight e7. Black intends 28. Bishop f5. Knight g3. bc1. h5. Black is beginning a kingside counterattack. In retrospect, it would have been better to simplify the position with 29 knight ef5 since the kingside attack never materializes and the h-pawn becomes a target. Rook a1. Preparing for a6. h4. Knight f1. Bishop f5. Black has gained some space on the king side. Bishop e2. The bishop is needed to support the advance of the pawn to a6. Knight e4. A nicely posted piece. Knight c5. Threatening 34. Queen takes b7. Knight takes c5. Queen takes c5. If black moves his knight on e7, then white can play queen takes d5 because the c-pawn is pinned. Bishop e6. Protecting the pawn. Knight d2. So that every piece participates in the finale. Knight f5. Knight f3. Queen d8. a6. At long last. B takes a6. Rook takes a6. Rook takes a6. Bishop takes a6. If 39 bishop d7 40 bishop d3 knight g7 41 knight e5 black is tied up in knots. Queen a8. Mistake. Queen takes c6. Queen takes c6. Rook takes c6. Rook a8. Bishop d3. And black resigned. There is no way to prevent the threat of 43 bishop takes f5 and 44 knight takes h4 winning a second pawn. If 42 rook a1, check. 43 king h2 rook a2 then white simply plays 44 rook c2 and the pawn on h4 cannot be saved.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy. Please subscribe.